The night air was heavy with tension as Daniel, a single father in his late 30s, pulled his old pickup truck to the curb outside a quiet street. His 10-year-old daughter, Lily, was asleep in the passenger seat, her head resting against the window, clutching the worn-out teddy bear she never went anywhere without. Daniel's life had been nothing but a battle, working 2 jobs, scraping together enough for rent, always making sure Lily never went without food or warmth. Tonight, though, fate had placed him in the middle of something far bigger than his own struggles. He stepped out of the truck to grab a coffee from the corner shop. A sound caught his attention, shuffling feet, hushed voices, and then a sharp cry. Daniel's head snapped toward the alleyway, where 2 boys, no older than Lily, dressed in fine clothes, were backed against the wall, fear etched across their faces. Standing before them were 3 thugs, their sneers lit by the flickering street lamp. "Hand it over." One of the men growled, his shadow looming tall against the brick wall. The boys clutched each other, trembling. Daniel's chest tightened. He had seen that same fear in Lily's eyes the night they were evicted from their apartment. He couldn't ignore it. Not now. Not ever. Without hesitation, he strode forward, his voice low but commanding. "Back away now." The thugs turned, sizing him up. Daniel wasn't a big man, lean, with tired eyes and calloused hands. But there was steel in his stance, the kind that comes from a life of enduring hardship and refusing to break. One thug smirked. "This ain't your business, old man. Walk away." Daniel glanced at the boys. Their eyes pleaded silently for help. Behind him, he heard Lily stir in the truck, her sleepy voice calling, "Daddy?" His heart pounded. He couldn't let these men see his fear. "You heard me," Daniel said, his voice sharper now. "Back. Away." For a moment, the street fell silent except for the distant hum of traffic. The thugs exchanged glances, uncertain. Something about Daniel's unwavering gaze made them hesitate. He wasn't bluffing, and deep down, they knew it. Finally, with muttered curses, they spat on the ground and disappeared into the night. Daniel exhaled, his muscles unclenching as he turned to the boys. "You're safe now," he said gently, but as he looked closer, his breath caught. These weren't ordinary kids. Their faces were familiar, from magazines, newspapers, even TV. They were the Billionaire twins, the children of Richard Holloway, one of the richest men in the country. The boys clung to him, tears streaming down their cheeks. Thank you," one whispered, his voice breaking. Daniel knelt so he was eye level with them. "You don't have to thank me. Anyone would have done the same." But the truth was, not everyone would have. In a world where most people turned away, he had stepped forward. Headlights suddenly cut through the street as sleek black cars screeched to a halt. Security men rushed out, shouting the twins' names. Moments later, a tall figure emerged, Richard Holloway himself. His tailored suit was immaculate, but his eyes were wild with fear until they landed on his sons. "Dad!" The twins cried, running into his arms. Richard embraced them tightly before turning to Daniel. For a man who had everything, words seemed to fail him. His gaze flicked to Daniel's battered truck, to Lily peeking out from the passenger seat, rubbing her tired eyes. "You," Richard began, his voice unsteady. "You saved my boys." Daniel shook his head. "I just did what any father would do." But Richard didn't look away. For the first time in years, the billionaire felt something money could never buy, gratitude that went beyond words. His sons, normally surrounded by wealth and bodyguards, had been vulnerable. And it was a man who had nothing but love for his own daughter who had stood in the gap. The twins clung to Daniel once more before stepping back to their father. Richard's eyes softened as he took in the sight of Lily climbing down from the truck to stand beside her dad, clutching his hand. The alley was quiet now, but something had shifted. Lives that should never have crossed had just collided, and nothing would be the same again.